Raheem Sterling for me is still just potential. He has scored. He has a great first half of the season with Man City. But every time I watch him, these goals, he scored one worldie. I can't remember who it was against, but he scored a lot of tap-ins. And watching him recently against Spurs, like he always has in his entire career, he gets into great positions, but his decision making and his finishing is still not there. Saying all of that,
he's 21.
He's 20. I think is he 21? Is he a bit older? I think he's a tiny bit older than that. I'll Google it now. But I think he still has. If people can get off his back, he can be a huge difference to us because it's all kind of there.
It's all about.
He's 23.
23, is he? Oh,
yeah.
Right.
But he's still there. He is a kid.
Look, yeah, he is a kid, and he's got a player of his style. He doesn't have as long a career as most do. You know, his speed he relies on that massively. It's not like he's going to be able to revert into a kind of Pirlo-esque midfielder where he doesn't have to move too much. His movement and his pace is his key attribute. Okay. But with all players, you need the right environment in order to flourish in, and I think he has that now under Guardiola. And there's no better opportunity for him to fulfil all the potential than under Guardiola at City at this time. Same goes for all of those players. And you see, you often have the conversation about some players going to another club, and you go, well, why can't they replicate that form? Or why can't? Because the manager is the key. You know, the environment, the support network. If you go into work and someone's going, you're good at your job, you do this excellent, and you go into another job where your manager says nothing to you, you're not going to perform as well. It's the same goes. These are human beings. So I think we're going to see Sterling reach that potential, whatever it is, and we'll see what kind of player he becomes. But
yeah,
I'm not.
I think the worry for me
is
good player. He's going to play in this team where it's just flowing and it's beautiful, and then he's going to have to
go to England. Yeah, he's going to struggle with that.
And there's going to be that same focus that there was in Euro 2016. There was this spotlight on him. People were expecting him to do something. Yeah. People were waiting for him to trip up.
And it won't happen. It won't happen again because, again, it's a different environment. Unless Southgate managed to replicate that, it won't happen. The same boring news stories will come out attacking Sterling. The same people on Twitter attacking Sterling because they believe that he should be replicating the form he does for Man City, when these people are clearly idiots because it takes so much more than just crossing that line and going onto the pitch.
Yeah, to do it. And the final two. One, Jose Mourinho hasn't changed a bit. This guy,
he's become worse.
He's he will never change, will he? No, I wondered if he would tweak. I wondered if he would tweak. He would mature maybe a little bit, but he still needs and loves and courts that siege mentality.
It can't be a nice way to live. Like, it can't feel nice to have that much negativity aimed at you, to have other managers hating you, to have negative things said about you. It doesn't matter how rich you are and how successful you become. There has to be a part of you that you have to carry that horrible kind of energy around.
Yeah.
But what I would say is I'm a big fan. I've said it before. Big fan of Mourinho. I like the fact that he winds up other people. I like the fact that he gets under the skin. He's a character, and that's what you want. Whether you hate the Joker, he has to be a part of that story, right? Yeah. So he's the villain, and that's his role, and he plays it brilliantly. There's some things though, like which I thought just were pathetic recently, was the whole Pep Jose fight and that thing about storming into a thing. Like that was perfect. It went on for ages, and what did they have? It was a scuffle at most, but because it's Guardiola and Jose, it became a massive story. That I found that very irritating. I was like ready for them both just to disappear and never have to think about them again.
Yeah, and I think it'll be the death of him, but it's also been the success of him as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And the last one for me, we were talking about in the office briefly, but we'll chat about it now for you guys. Is that money rules now more than ever? Leicester winning the league. It will not be. I mean, it will be seen. I think it will be seen again, but like once.
That is just the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without if it was normal, you wouldn't have such things of like the money wouldn't be an issue in football, and there wouldn't be huge investment in football teams. The fact is that money brings success. And that's why investment takes place.
Yeah. And reflecting on this year, 2017, we now we're okay. You do keep acclimatising to the amounts of money that goes into football, because I think at the start of 2017 we would have gone 30 million for him, 40 million for that. Now it's just commonplace to kind of talk about these numbers.
Yeah.
And it will, we will see if it will continue to rise, but certainly what I'm seeing here, and we did worry about it right at the start, was that the top. We had all those new managers turn up 2 seasons, not this season, the season before, turn up, and everyone thought, right, okay, they mean business now, and they have meant business. They've spent so much money, and now I think you're seeing that Burnley, they're finding a way, but it is so defensive. It's survival based.
The likelihood is that they probably will slip away. I hope they don't. Do you know what I mean? It's refreshing to see. You know, if you're a fan, it'll get to a stage where I don't understand why the Premier League is so exciting, and it can't be that the Premier League is anything is exciting just because it's been branded right, and that's what I think it is now. I think, you know, if you're a Southampton fan or Huddersfield fan, where do you go? What's the limit? The most that you could expect is 8th, 7th in the league.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not.
Unless you do a Leicester, which we're feeling is harder than it's ever been.
It was incredible even then.
Yeah.
And I don't think, you know, there was a time when I thought that the top 4 would never be broken, but because of the money coming into the game, it became a top 6. And each year you're going to see if the same teams vying for the league and and those Champions League places, and that's because of the amount of wealth that's been piled into it. The Champions League became the draw trophy and the most prestigious trophy in world football because of the amount of money attached to it, and that money just filters into the same clubs that qualify for it each year, attracting more players, more marketing deals, extending the gap between the top half and the second half of the league. And you know, I understand when, you know, Adam is a Brentford fan. He says, I don't really want to be a part of it. He loves his football, and if you love your football club, that's all that's important. Don't let the Sky Sports and whoever else tell you that success is all important, because it ain't. It's really not. It's about community and going along and enjoying your day out.
Absolutely.
Download the app and join today.